Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Vanessa and I am an indie author and I publish under the pen name A.N. Sage. I write YA, mostly fantasy, contemporary fantasy, sci-fi, and pretty much anything paranormal. In today's video, if you are new to the channel, I do talk a lot about the process of writing, my writing journey, mistakes that I make along the way, and how you can avoid them. And then we sprinkle in some planner and organization and plotting type of videos. So thank you for joining again. If you are not new, and if you are new, then welcome. We'd love to have you. I'd love it if you could subscribe and join the community. But to get ahead with the video, as you can see, I'm in a slightly different environment again today. I'm back in my office, or my office for now. We are moving in just about 3 weeks, under 3 weeks now. And so I went a little ham and I packed everything already. I packed literally like my makeup, my clothes, everything's in boxes. So the area where I usually film in the house, is full of boxes. So we're back in the office. I'm keeping the office as is until the last possible minute because, not that I would ever trade working for myself or anything, but it is hard when things like moves, unexpected moves come up, because we moved a lot earlier than we were expecting. We were supposed to move in February. And so I booked that time off. I didn't take any clients. I made sure that my book release that's coming up is going to be at the end of February, and that I was going to have all the launch and everything done already. And then we up and found a place to move into way earlier. And so we're doing it now, right in the middle of me starting my launch and getting everything together. If you haven't heard me talk about it before, The Things the River Hides is going to be coming out February 2022, and it's my next release. I do still have one more book left in the Shadowverse world, which is also going to come out next year, but this is a standalone. It's a darker YA contemporary fantasy, and it kind of deals with a more obscure Eastern European folklore, so I'm really excited about it, and I have a really big launch planned for it. And I'm going to do a video on exactly what kind of planning I'm doing for this particular launch, what kind of things I have going on, swag, giveaways, all of that good stuff. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about going wide with your books. So as you know, I have been in Kindle Unlimited, which is a subscription service through Amazon, and you are basically just releasing your books on Amazon if you are part of it. And I have been on there for a few years. Prior to that, I was wide with all my books. When I started writing Shadowverse, I wanted to put that book and of all of my other books in KU because I wanted to see and test out the audience that I could get based on other books in my genre that all seemed to be kind of in the KU world. And so I put everything in KU. And I mentioned a little while back, a few months back, I think, that I'm going to be going wide with most of my books, not all of them, but most of them. And I had somebody comment and ask for a video to explain that. So that is this video. I was also recently talking about to an author friend about this who is in KU and is thinking of going wide. So I figured, why not do it? All my books are now, most of my books are now in wide. So they're on other platforms. They're not just in KU, with the exception of the Etherborn Saga, which was my first series that I've ever published as an indie. And I kept that one in KU just because I think it will stay in KU for a long time and do well while it's in there. And I'm going to talk to you about the reasons that I pulled everything else out and I'm taking it wide now. So there's a few reasons of why I made this decision. And it wasn't an easy decision to make because I do like the ease of being only on one platform. I like being paid for page reads. It's a great income source on top of just sales. So there are a lot of really beneficial things to being in Kindle Unlimited. So, however, there are also some cons. And so the cons for me in this particular case kind of swayed me to go wide again. And nothing is written in stone, right? So if you decide to go to KU, you only have to be there for 3 months. If you want to go wide. Again, you can always bring your books back in KU depending on how they do. Nothing is written in stone. As indie authors, that's the beauty. We can do whatever we want. So one of the main reasons that I've decided to take all of my books wide is because I already had a freebie novella that was kind of floating around there. And it's a novella in the Shadowhurst world, and I put it up on every single platform that I could, even Wattpad, and I made it free. And I did this not because I wanted to price match on Amazon to make it free, but I was using it as almost like a tester to see where the downloads would come from. And if the other platforms that I put it on were pretty much dead and I was just getting all of my downloads from Amazon, then I was going to keep my books in KU and not worry about taking them all wide. That is not what happened. If you have some kind of reader magnet, I really recommend putting it on other platforms to see where you would get the most downloads. It's a really good read on where the audience would be. And so what I found out is that I actually had a lot of people on Kobo specifically. There's quite a few on Apple, and Barnes & Noble's got a lot of hits as well. Google was a little bit slow for me, Google Play, but Kobo was almost on par with Amazon. And so that was a really good indication that if I put at least the rest of the Shadowhurst series on these platforms, that they would do well there too. Another reason is because prior to being in KU was a test for me, and it worked really well at the beginning. More on that later. So KU was a test for me, but prior to being on KU, I was wide with all of my books. And I still had readers there. And a lot of readers have been recently reaching out to me because they really wanted to read some of my newer books, but they weren't able to find it anywhere but on Amazon, and they were not Kindle readers. And so I felt bad alienating people who have supported me, have supported my books up to this point, but also not having this group of people, this group of readers that were really interested in my books, that could spread the word and tell their friends. And they were just real diehard fans. So for them, I decided to also take it wide. It also opened up the doors to other readers. And it opened up the doors for me to kind of experiment with what publishing wide means, because originally when I went wide, I used an aggregator to upload all of my ebooks instead of directly doing it myself. And I absolutely hated that experience. And so this time I decided to just open accounts on all these different platforms and upload the books myself. And it has been so much better. It's a bit more time consuming, of course, because you have to keep uploading over and over and just putting all the information over and over. But in the end, I just loved it so much better. It also gave me the opportunity to work with Kobo as an author and to be able to run different marketing, different ads on there, use different marketing. They have a whole bunch of things that they have planned going on. And Kobo is a really great platform as well. And so I didn't want to miss out on that by going through an aggregator and not doing it myself. Because at least when I did it originally, this was years ago, if you went through an aggregator, like if you uploaded your ebook through, say, Ingram Spark, you did not have the same access to these platforms that you would if you had just opened an account and did it yourself. And so it was a really good test for me to take all of these books wide, to learn more about the platforms, what they have to offer, and kind of prepare, because this launch in February that I have is one of the biggest launches that I have had for a book so far. And it's the biggest book I've worked on as far as like craft and skill and just like the entirety of what this book means. And so I really wanted to know basically what I was doing, and using some of my backlist for that was a really good idea to kind of put myself out there, put my author name out there somewhere other than Amazon, and get ready for this big launch as well. And then another reason, and I think this is probably my main reason for doing this, and kind of the last big reason for why I went wide, is I started to see my KU reads, the read-throughs, and just reads in general, begin to dwindle. So when I first signed up for the Kindle Unlimited, the Kindle Select, I had just read-throughs through the roof, and 60 to 70% of my royalties all came from readers on KU. And that was amazing. I haven't seen that before. It was really great for like the first time to try it out, to see that. And I do still recommend that if you are a new author, if you're just building your brand name, try going KU's Kindle Select with your first book to kind of just build that readership. I have seen it work, not just for myself, but for other authors as well. And I definitely think that it's worth a shot. As I said before, it's only 30 days, so you've got nothing to lose. So you might as well give it a shot, right? And if you really hate it, sometimes you can even email Kindle and ask them to pull your books from Select ahead of time, and they'll go ahead and do that. I actually had to do that with some of my books this time because the Kindle Select period, the 90-day period, was sporadically coming on, and I wouldn't be able to upload all of the books simultaneously. So what I did was just kind of on the back end, I went in, I uploaded the books, I emailed KU, and I said, listen, like, I'm taking all these books wide. Some of them are already starting to populate on these other sites. So if you don't mind, do you mind manually just taking them off? And they had no problem doing that. They did that literally within like 24 hours. So if you hate it that much, you can always leave, right? But if you're a new author with a new pen name or just a new name out there, then maybe your first book would be a good candidate for Kindle Select, because people can take a chance on you more when they're already paying for a subscription. There's not so much gamble on an author they don't know to spend actual money. And so they might give your book a chance a little bit better that way. So when I first joined with all my books, when I put all of my books in Kindle Select, those page rates went just skyrocketed high, and it was super exciting and really fun, and I would check them every day, which was obsessive. Don't do that. Save yourself the headaches. But I was really excited about it. And slowly but surely, because my releases got further apart, just because life happened, and I mean, I have other businesses to run as well, that it kind of trickled down, and it started trickling more and more down, and plateauing a bit. And once in a while, I would do like a promotion, a sale, an ad, or whatever, and it would come back up, and then it would stay up, and it would slowly trickle down again. And what that told me is that because I write in the YA genre, that perhaps what I was doing was I was oversaturating the readers I might have gotten on. There's so many readers on KU, so there's readers for everybody. But the readers that were finding me organically, I think I oversaturated that. And so those reads went down. And so I now had two different options, right? I could either sink a whole bunch of my budget into more marketing, more ads, and revive all of those KU reads and those books that are in Kindle Select. Or I could save that budget for the big launch I'm planning, because that's already going to be like a huge money suck really as far as like marketing goes, and save it for that, and take the books wide instead and see how they do there, and maybe try to promote more on the white sides, and see what different promotions they have to offer. And for all I know, I haven't done this yet, but I'm really excited. I'm starting global promotions next month, right, kind of for Christmas and for January and February. People are reading more, and I think global promotions have gotten like so much better, and so many people, so many authors talk about them to me and how great they are and how easy it is to work with them. And so I'm really excited to try that out, because it might open up a different revenue stream, but like a different avenue of promoting my books and getting to readers. Because I'm getting a little bit, I find I've been doing marketing for these books for a long time, and you kind of get complacent and it becomes a bit static, because you're always doing the same things, like you're just running Facebook ads, which I'll keep doing, of course. And then you're doing Amazon ads, and Amazon ads are very boring and I don't like them very much, but you have to do them. But you need to put in more and more money into things like that. And so I think for me, I just needed that kind of excitement of learning what I can do on a new platform with a new audience, and to see how people react to it. And so far, I've had a really good go at it. The books have only been wide for about a week, but I'm already seeing kind of sales start to trickling and people reading it. And so I'm really excited to just promote to those other sites now, and not just necessarily to Amazon, because I feel like I was excluding a big portion of an audience that I could otherwise reach. And then the last, I know I said this was the last, but there's actually a last. The last reason And this is probably the first reason for most authors, but it was the last reason for me, is that I was becoming more and more weary about having all the eggs in one basket, right? I was becoming more worried that if something happened on Amazon, recently, like I've seen a few authors kind of lose their accounts for things they didn't do anything wrong, but the accounts just got deleted. And it's hard to get that back if you can get it back at all. So I didn't feel comfortable having everything on just one platform. And depending on just that platform, just because technical difficulties, technical mistakes, they happen. It's their computers, their apps, their online websites, and these things crash and information gets lost. And so I did not want that to happen with any of my books. And so having these other platforms available, so if something happened on Amazon, you could still get my books and read them on Kobo, on Barnes & Nobles, on Google Play, on Apple, and stuff like that. So there's already places where I could direct readers just in case something happened with Amazon until I could rebuild what had been lost, if it had been lost, right? It's also really nice to kind of have these other platforms available because I am thinking that, first of all, when you're wide, like this book that's coming up, The Things the River Hides, I'm going to be having several versions of it. And some of these versions are going to Ringgum Spark because I'm going to be working on getting them into physical bookstores, this book, or, the physical copies of this book. I'm going to be working on getting them into physical bookstores. And I think that's a bit easier to do when you're wide. So those are pretty much my main reasons for taking some of my books off of Kindle Select and moving them onto wide platforms. I am hoping that this was useful information for you if you are thinking between one or the other. Like I said before, though, there's nothing to lose in trying either one out. It's not the end of the world, and you can always switch around between the two, as I have done. Sometimes it might be good to switch around between. Why I know authors that have been wide for all of their careers, and I know some that are half and half, like what I'm going to be doing now, and some that kind of go back and forth. But you have to give it time, right? Whichever one you choose to go with, give it time. Don't just be in it for a month and then switch out again. When you know something is definitely not working or it's stopped working, like it has for me with Kindle Unlimited and KDP Select, then it's time to make some moves. It's not a choice I made lightly. I had to think about it quite a bit, and I had to give it time. I gave it months and months to see if anything would improve without me kind of dumping money onto the situation. And when I saw that it was not improving, that's when I kind of made the choice to take everything off KU and go wide. So hopefully you found that useful. I'm going to be doing another planner video next week. And then we're going to talk about the launch of The Things the River Hides to kind of give you an idea of how I'm launching this particular book, as it is a bit of a bigger launch for me in general. It's also my first standalone novel, so I'm doing a bigger launch for it because of that, because it's not part of a series. So we're going to do another launch discussion really quickly after the planner video. And then after that, I am hoping that we will already be in our new place and I will be able to show you my new office, which I'm really excited about because I'm finally going to have like a bigger office. Right now, I know you can't tell, but I'm kind of more out in the open here, like in a den type area. And I'm going to have a proper office finally because I need it. I have a lot of stuff. I have a lot of work that I do and I work only from home. So I kind of need a place to close the door and have it be mine. So I'm very excited to show that to you guys, but that's going to be just in about 3 weeks time or so. In the meantime, as always, I hope you found this video useful in some way on your author journey, and I hope that you stay magical, and I will see you next week for our planner video. Bye!